Coming up, we're roasting Universal Orlando in 2018. From the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Universal edition of The Diz Unplugged. This is episode 202 of the Diz Unplugged Universal edition. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect Universal vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. I am your host, Sexy Phoebe, and today I am joined alongside by my co-host, Rhino Clevin.
Hello, hello.
Hey, so later on I'll be singing Smelly Cat for you.
My sticky shoe. Why are you so sticky?
No, I'm Craig Williams. I'm just I'm losing my voice currently, so I've been talking all day. I cannot promise that it's going to make it through this episode. If we even can make it through the end of the episode, we might have to wrap things up early just so I can stop talking and be on my voice. But I don't think that works the same way as like being on your feet. But hey, it's okay because all we have to do is get through this episode, and this is our last one of the year. We will not be back for quite some time after that. I can't say the exact date because I don't have my calendar in front of me, but I'm going on a cruise the first full week of January, so we're gonna say we probably won't be back with another episode until the 17th of January. So a nice long extended vacation away from us. So I know you're gonna miss us, but you know what?
Tough.
I was going to say we're worth the wait.
Oh, yeah, we're worth the wait.
Maybe we'll be able to come up with some ideas for new shows and stuff in that extended hiatus. But it's fine because we've got a good one to close out the year. We're finally celebrating our 202nd episode by being rude and unleashing our thoughts, feelings, actions on Universal. And today we're going to roast the year that Universal had. And I'm going to tell you, there are some things that we are not going to hold back on, because 2018 has been interesting. But there have been highlights, there's been lowlights, and there's been a lot in between. But we will go over that pretty much right now because I don't have anything else to say, to be quite honest with you. So, Rhino, shall we start getting this look at 2018 rolling?
Yes.
Okie dokie. So we're going to go chronologically, they would say, in terms of how the year went itself. So we're going to start in January. And the first thing we really did in January, do you remember what this was, Rhino?
Celebration of Harry Potter.
A celebration of Harry Potter. What ended up being, unbeknownst to us at the time, what ended up being the final celebration of Harry Potter. Yes, the fifth and final one, celebration of Harry Potter weekend. Of course, celebrities were on hand. They had Natalie Tenya, who of course plays Tonks, Nymphadora Tonks. They had, I forget his name already, Stanislav, who plays Victor Crumb, and were the twins back? Were the twins here? No. Who was it this year?
It was the twins.
It was the twins, yeah. Yeah.
You're right. I remember the video. You said it.
Yeah, they were here. I feel like one other person was here, too. It was a whole cast of characters and panels throughout the weekend.
3 Weasleys, and then the two, the Tonks and him. That was it.
Yeah, Stanislav Yanevsky.
And then Warwick Davis, was hosting stuff? No? Am I making that up? That was the year before. No, then that's it. I think they're the only ones in my video.
Yeah, was he was it Bonnie Wright?
Yeah.
Is she back?
Yeah, the 3 Weasleys, yeah.
Okay.
No Ron. I always am not talking about Ron if I'm saying that. Although he was here the year before, but
yeah, so what'd you think this year? Was this a highlight or a low light of Universal? Remember, this was the debut of the nighttime lights at Hogwarts Castle as well, too.
Was it really?
Yeah.
I mean, I do enjoy that show. That's cool. I'm never against this event because it's included with your ticket. So I'll never be like, oh, this is a low light. I do think it feels stale. It's one of those things like we have to work, so I have that sort of feeling in the back of my head when we go to cover it for work. Like, yes, I do love Harry Potter, but there are things where you're like, am I recording the same thing for the 4th year in a row? You know, like sort of a feeling. Although I haven't worked here for 4 years, but you know what I mean. And it's so it's not like it's not a low light for me. It was starting to feel like just treading the same territory over and over again.
Well, and now it's over, so you don't have to worry about feeling stale unless they decide to bring it back at some point. But yeah, I still enjoyed being there and being in the moment and seeing the excitement. The most excitement that I got out of it was when I would maybe take Kylie to an event or two, so that way she could see some of the talent, stuff like that, and see it through her eyes as a person who doesn't live it every single year. But yeah, it's I feel like it went out before it could really be beaten to death over and over and over. So.
And that way, my hope is that maybe it'll come back at some point in the future when they got more to it. But my disappointment with this event was I made this video and like nobody watched it.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. It's we deal with it from time to time with things that we do, the stuff that we're the happiest about, that we're the most proud of when we put it together, it gets the littlest of views. And it's like, if only people knew how we felt, maybe they would pity watch it. I'm all about the pity watch.
Yeah, I'm just checking it to see, because I know I put a picture of every one of the people in here. Yeah, just
okay,
the 5 people. Right. That was it. Yeah.
We got it right then. So we'll move on to our next event, and that was obviously the next one that happens and lasts way beyond the actual event that it's celebrating, Universal Mardi Gras. Rhino, what would you consider this for you this year?
I like Mardi Gras. I feel like it's a highlight for me. I feel like this year, this maybe wasn't the first year they were doing the 7-day parade.
No, last year.
Okay, but I enjoy that. I like that parade's always going on. Again, another not a hard ticket event, something that's included with your ticket. So it's kind of just like a bonus for you if you're going to Universal, and then if you get lucky, you got one of the concerts on one of those nights. And I always enjoy that. I like this one just as much as I've liked the one in the years in the past. There was no. I'm trying to think. Was there a big? Who the big name was this year?
For me, there was one big name, and that was the Beach Boys with John Stamos.
Yeah, I was traveling during that one, I missed that one.
Yeah, no, but always great acts. I actually went to Mardi Gras more than I have in past years, and I didn't really see a lot of concerts. I did see Beach Boys with John Stamos.
We saw Sean Paul, you and I did.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I was very confused by what was happening there, but
Macklemore was the big one.
Macklemore.
Yeah, sorry. And Philip Phillips, Jason Derulo. There was a lot of big names, but
I think I enjoyed this year a lot. It was also cool that we were they refreshed the parade again this year, and they went with the mythology for this time around. And what was cool about it, one of the floats. Sorry,
I'm actually, now that we're talking about it and I'm looking this stuff up, I'm more upset I didn't go more. Fits and the Tantrums were there. I would think I was traveling during that one too. Fifth Harmony. It was there. They kind of go all out for this celebration that goes on for a month too. And yeah, the floats were all the astrological signs this year. Yeah. And I really enjoyed that. I thought this year these were some of my favorite floats I've ever seen there.
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. So I don't know why in the world I said mythology when it's clearly astrology, but they did do mythology a couple of years ago as well too. But I really enjoyed the astrology version of them. It was after replacing the floats last year, it was like, oh, they're not going to turn around and do it again, and they did, and they were beautiful. So I was all about Mardi Gras this year for me. It was definitely a highlight. What comes next? I don't know where the dice will land on it, Rhino, but Fast and Furious Supercharged celebrating its grand opening.
Okay. I enjoyed the grand opening party that we were invited to as part of the media event, and that is where it stops for me. So I don't hate this ride. I'm not going to, but it's not a ride I'm going out of the way to do. You know, if it's like I can walk into it and you're there with me, sure, we can go do it if you want to do it. But it's not something I'm probably not going to go on it unless somebody's like, hey, do you want to go on this ride?
Yeah.
It's not something I'm going to seek out by myself. But again, I don't hate it, but it just, I don't know. It wasn't like worth all that buildup.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of build up in there. You have to look at it from, was it worth the attractions that we lost? Was it worth losing Beetlejuice's Graveyard Mashup? Was it worth losing Disaster? Um, that's a tough call on there. I had very low feelings about Beetlejuice, so I think we know where I stand on that. Disaster, I never really had like a lot of great feelings for it until the nostalgia kicked in that it was closing, and then I started to miss it. But overall, I think the worst thing it could have done was it cost Universe, even though it was just replay, simple, put in an attraction that they've already done all the hard work for. It was just putting it in here and building the ride system and all that. But they needed it to be a lot bigger of a hit than it was, and it wasn't, and that did not help them at all one bit. So, that could have had an impact on future attractions and their willingness to jump into stuff that is box office successful, but maybe didn't translate well into theme parks. I don't know, but regardless, I enjoyed it when it first came out. I still enjoy it. It's a stupid ride, but it's stupid fun for me at least. But I guess I'm a special breed, so for me it's a highlight. I understand why anyone who would want to say it was definitely a low part of the year, why they would say that. I will not say you're wrong, but they can't all be hits. Some gotta be stinkers.
I will say, well, I would do this more often than I'm likely to do the Jimmy Fallon.
Yes, I will also say that wholeheartedly. But the next one was one that we were also very excited about. I believe this actually opened before Fast and Furious Supercharged, but I messed up my list. But that was the grand opening of Voodoo Doughnut at Universal City Walk.
Oh, yes. This is definitely a highlight for me. I enjoy the donuts here. I'm it's one of those where I'm like, what was there before? And that's exactly how I feel about it. What was there before?
And not the fossil,
it was like PacSun something.
Yeah.
Not PacSun, but something along that type of thing. But
it was the surf shop.
For me, it's
skate shop.
Yeah. For me, this is definitely an improvement, an addition, and I think it's great here. It still gets a line. I, for the most part, enjoyed the donuts. The ones I haven't enjoyed, it's just my flavor profile doesn't enjoy it. It's not because it's a bad donut.
No, the Grinch one was a bad donut.
Well, the green apple, I don't like the taste of that. Like that filling is weird. So, but I'm a big fan of Voodoo Donuts.
Yeah, this was freaking huge for City Walk. The only negative thing I do have to say about it is half the time that I'm like, you know what, I could really use a donut right now. I might want to stop on my way out when I'm leaving the park. There's either the queue outside the door, or it's jam-packed inside, and I don't want to deal with any of that nonsense. So I really, really, really love Voodoo Doughnut. I thought it's a perfect fit for Universal. I'm so glad they were able to make that happen. I just wish that the lines, it's just my timing when I go. I always have bad timing with it, and I know when we're walking in and moving walkways, it's like if you see 10 boxes of the pink Voodoo Doughnut boxes, then you know there's going to be a line, because people are they're waiting and they're getting all their donuts and leaving the park. So I just wish it was more acceptable, but it is delicious. A great, great addition. Next one, I have a feeling we have nothing but positive things to say as well, too. But that was the debut of Universal Orlando's Cinematic Celebration.
Oh, yes. I still like this show quite a bit. I've gone back and seen it a couple times since then. And I like it. It puts you in, it leaves you in that mood, like that I'm dancing out of the park at the end of the night, you know? And I feel like that's a great testament to a show.
I love this show. I think it's actually really, really well done. They put their all in it. So it surprised me when people around me then said that they didn't care for it and they didn't see the appeal and the hype of it. I'm like, I genuinely want to be in your brain and understand why. And I know sometimes that happens with the
I think sometimes people that aren't fans of Universal it's like they'll like it, but they'll just be like, well, no, I can't like anything here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. to me, the technology is on par. The projections, assuming it wasn't too crazy of a night, the projections are better than I've ever seen them once for Rivers of Light. Which
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of
I saw
seems
Rivers of Light the other night, and I was like, I can't even tell what I'm looking at.
Yeah. So, and I've never had that problem with cinematic celebration. Some of the moments last longer than they should, but they hit the right moments when they hit them. They hit them. The Jurassic Park start, the ET section, the
I
trolls.
like the Trolls part. Yeah,
when they hit it hard. So. I highly recommend this show. It felt weird when it wasn't around the entire Halloween season for Horror Nights. So, but it's nice that it's back now. And
I'd like to see a Halloween Horror Nights version of this for next year's Halloween Horror Nights. If we can make that happen, that would be a fun addition to Halloween Horror Nights, I think.
absolutely, it would be. I mean, if they could, the licensing nightmare that would just be out of control. But I'm right there with you. Anything using this technology, building that excitement, I am all for. But the next one, you still haven't stayed here yet, so this is more of a toss-up one. But I did stay there. You were traveling once again. You're traveling for everything good this year, and
Apparently.
this was the grand opening of Universal's sixth hotel, Universal's Aventura. Sorry. I always say Aventura, and it's like, no, it's Aventura. But you did go in with me on the tour, on the Grand
Yeah,
Opening.
I was gonna say I went to the media event, and that was good. I mean, I liked all the food that we tried, and I did go back. I didn't stay in the resort, but I did go back to Bar 17. Is that what it's called? Bar 17. I like the bow that's there. I do feel like it didn't deliver on its promise of drinks that we were told it was going to have, but. I mean, it's a bar. It's a beautiful space. If ever they're gonna, I think the idea being that it's a wedding space. If ever they need it, I think the resort. I'm never really gonna knock new resorts because I think that's fine. They need new space, and that resort is wedged in between two already themed resorts. Like you've got Sapphire Falls over here with the Caribbean, and then the 50s, 60s Cabana Bay, and so like. I don't expect a lot from the tower that's just randomly nestled in there. It makes me dizzy, though, a little bit because it feels like everything's kind of leaning forward toward the window. So I'm afraid of heights, and it makes me a little scared. But I think it's from what I've seen, I think it's a nice looking resort. I don't know what your stay was like, though.
It was comfortable. Thanks for listening to my review of it. I appreciate that. I worked hard. It was a 90-minute episode. Reviewing it, and you didn't pay attention, so thank you. It really hurt my feelings. You're not paying attention right now. It's okay.
What?
Exactly. No, it was a comfortable hotel, but it is for a certain demographic for sure. It is for like with the food options, the style of design, everything with it. It was meant for minimalists and definitely people without kids. Definitely going for a lot of millennials, I would say, and that like that clean look to it. Also want to go and have lots of fun Instagram stuff, take lots of photos. But it also missed the aspect of, millennials just don't take photos of their food and everything all the time. Like they want cool backdrops, stuff like that, and that's where it missed. It had the design that a lot of people our age like and crave for and want that idea of a boutique hotel. Like it delivered on all that, but then also it left me wanting more. It left me wanting a little bit more to the theme, like and it's kind of like the Universal equivalent of a contemporary, and that's the thing of the contemporary over at Walt Disney World. It's very minimal in its approach, but then it does have those certain characteristics to it that make it stand out a little bit more. So it's by no mean a miss at all. It's by no means something that like you shouldn't stay there at all. But it's definitely for a certain person. So it was a highlight for me. But it's I think. It's a hotel that I will return to review again in the future, but it would never be one that I would be like, oh, I want to do a staycation at Aventura.
Oh, I'm still waiting for. I have never had an experience at the other one across the street. 50s, 60s.
Oh,
Cabana Bay.
Cabana Bay.
I
You keep-
don't know why I
yeah.
always, because like I don't know. Lately, I'm having a block with that hotel's name for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't, that's on you, not on me, not on you, me. Wait, okay. Moving on, our next event that came and went, Halloween Horror Nights 28. We talked a lot about it on this show, so I don't think we're going to say too much here. Rhino, was HHN 28 a highlight for you?
Oh, a big highlight. This is actually probably one of my favorite years of the event. I just liked the cohesive, like how everything kind of worked together, I felt like. But I, some houses met expectations and then there were ones that exceeded the expectations. Like Stranger Things for me was just right there. I kind of wanted a little bit more like surprises from it, I guess. But then like I got Poltergeist, and Poltergeist ended up being just this amazing journey I went on this Halloween, and I really enjoyed that, and I like the feeling of everything. And I was reading, it was Mike Aiello on Twitter was saying that the idea behind this year's event was supposed to be like you were a kid and you were at a sleepover and you were watching that horror movie that you weren't supposed to be watching. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I get it. So that's why like it was killer clowns, and why like some stuff was campy but fun, scary, you know? And I appreciate that twist of it. I know some people had issue because it wasn't quite as like in your face, bloody and scary as like it can be. But I thought this was a fine, right on that fine line, room for improvement. Yes, always. But I'm very excited to see what next year has in store.
Yeah, no, as long as I've been going, I would never say there's been a perfect year where there didn't need to be any changes at all. Because even in some of the, like my fondest years, like I love 25, but Walking Dead was still around for that, just dragging it down. And so there's never been a perfect year since I've gone. This was about as close as you could get to it. The only thing I would say is for the first time, though, I did go so much. I didn't even go as much this year as I did in the past couple years. But by the time that the event was over, I was like, I'm actually kind of happy. I'll miss the event, but I am like burnt out on Halloween.
It's funny how often I went, but I still feel like I didn't do a couple of houses as much as I wanted to because it kept ending up in the same houses.
Yeah.
But it was, I know what you're saying, with that sort of a thing. This is the first year where like I think if Bill and Ted had been there this year, this could have been a perfect year.
Yeah, no, very, very close to it. I will say that. So it's, in some circumstances, like the first couple weeks, like the one time I went into Halloween, I wasn't really blown away with it. So I didn't really make an effort to go into it. And then like the last 2 or 3 weeks of the event, then I went into it once, had a really great time, went into it again, had another great time. And then I feel like I just missed it all those weeks that I skipped out on it, and like now I'm not going to go to it. And that's that's the way I felt about a couple of houses, that I didn't see them enough. Some I saw more than enough, and it just but it was a tiring year for Halloween Horror Nights in the best way. It left us exhausted. So I am looking forward to next year, though. Can't wait to see what happens with this event.
I can't wait for the announcements to start creeping in.
I know. Yeah, we still have a little ways to go, but we will get there. And finally, the last little part, we haven't really had time to celebrate them yet at Universal because we've been really busy, but the holidays are back at Universal and taking us all the way through the new year. And, I think it's just as good as any year it's been before. The parade's still a little slow, but better than some of the iterations of the Macy's holiday parade that was there in the past.
I like the parade. I'm not really a big parade person, but I enjoy this parade.
I like the floats and the balloons. I still just hate the song, though. I felt like there has to be a happy balance between like the obnoxious music that they were using for Macy's with the rundown balloons and floats, and these nice new pretty floats and balloons. And I mean, some of them are obviously holdovers, like the mainstay Macy's ones, the Christmas lights, the bulbs that say Macy's on it, stuff like that. I'm talking about like in terms of the new ones, like the Shrek ones, the Despicable Me ones. There's a lot of great great new ones that added life to it, but then the song is just so slow that
I feel like it's
feels
forgettable because I can't even remember the song.
it is forgettable and it's slow. It's just it should be an upbeat. Every parade should be upbeat. This one almost is like slightly somber. Even when Santa comes at the end, it's like, I'm going to light this tree. I lit this tree. Let's move on. Grab a Coca-Cola.
Yes.
Yeah. So, for me, it's right in between. It's not right now. The holidays at Universal hasn't been a highlight for me this year, but it's not bad. I'm gonna go experience Grinchmas and see some of the stuff again that I want to see one more time, and then I'll be able to better decide. But it happened this year, that's for sure. So. And then, as a whole, before we wrap up this one, I want to talk about some stuff that we lost and gained, potentially, well, kind of, throughout the year. And I'm going to actually include Universal Hollywood in on this, too, just because I know we have some thoughts. But out in Universal Hollywood this year, they gained the Kung Fu Panda show at the DreamWorks Theater. And I think, I'm very, very excited. I still haven't. Since it opened up, I haven't been back to Universal Hollywood, but that's like on my must-dos of 2019 is I really want to go see how the show was done because everyone that I talked to has experienced it. So
maybe we should go when Jurassic Park opens too.
Well, and that's another thing I was going to say. I do agree that we absolutely should, if not sooner than that. But Jurassic Park the ride did close down in Hollywood this past year, and to make way, though, for the Jurassic World version of this attraction. So it's a sad loss. I really enjoyed their version of it. It's one of all the attractions at Universal, I think, at Universal Studios Hollywood, I want to say I recommended doing this, besides the tram tour, of the attractions that you could experience, I recommended this more than anything because it's the same concept of the ride as ours was here at Universal Orlando, but it was different in all the right ways. That just added a little bit of a balance to it, and it made that experience more interesting. So, like Despicable Me, same thing. Transformers, same thing. There's so much repeat that was happening in those parks. But then with something like Jurassic Park, there was that nice change to it. Mummy, our version, is so much better than the Hollywood Mummy that you couldn't even be like, yeah, you definitely wait in the long line for that. But Jurassic Park, sad loss. I wish I would have got to see it one more time. But I gave Kylie the shot. I said we could go hike or we could go to Universal and experience Jurassic Park the ride one more time. She chose hiking. So that's on her. But then here in Orlando, sadly enough, at Islands of Adventure, we lost the 8th voyage of Sinbad.
Boo. I don't like it.
Yeah, no, I didn't like it either. So this was one of the rare moments where when the show closed down, the final day of the show, I was like, I really need to go to Universal and film this just so we have the final show on our site, or at least like from the final day. And then the day ended, and I was like, I have no regrets that I didn't go and film this. So, good riddance to you there. So, yeah, well, I know I promised this was going to be a roast, but it was mostly the positive moments of a roast. There was nothing really too aggressively bad at Universal in 2018. I would say probably the lowest moments, in my book at least, was a celebration of Harry Potter and then potentially Fast and Furious Supercharged. Everything else was pretty good. So especially the closure of 8th Voyage of Sinbad. Mm-hmm. I'd rather see it sit empty and bare. Well, actually, everything is still in place. Rhino and I walked past it very recently and got to see inside the stage, and it is like all still perfect and pristine. They could start it back up again tomorrow if they wanted to. But yeah, other than that, it's 2018 was a year. Looking forward to 2019, though. You too, Rhino?
Yeah.
Cool.
Always looking forward.
Always. Yep, never looking back, only forward, and that's what we do on this show. So, unfortunately, I feel like my voice has hit the maximum that it can go to. So that is going to do it for this year on the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. Thank you so much to everyone out there who listened and watched this. Thank you, Rhino, for being a part of it. We've had another great year, and I am seriously looking forward to seeing what fun we can have in 2019. But if you need any links before that, head over to DizUnplugged.com, and home of our show notes page for this and all the other shows on the Diz Unplugged podcast. Podcast Network. You will find links to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our email address, uopodcast@disunplugged.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed. Hit that thumbs up and leave us fun comments below. If you're listening to this on iTunes, go ahead, subscribe, rate, and review us. But that is going to do it for this year. And we will be back with you next year for the next episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. But until then, remember, we still have not changed.